At least, I would like to propose we provide community-sponsored earplugs for noise complainers. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? I think we've just given this noise committee new marching orders, so thank you for that.
Woodstock is a global representation of community cooperation. The current sound laws state that there's no obnoxious sounds to be made past 11 p.m. This is a reasonable request that has been honored by the community for lifetimes. They protect all people from life-altering disturbances, and I've always experienced Woodstock as a self-regulating town of mutual respect and communication. We do not need new laws, especially from people who have not studied our current law. An example I will show later. $500 million musical economy is what maintains this town for us all. As protected by the 14th Amendment, we must be treated equally when it comes to employment. Musicians will not be subjected to oppression, but for the essence of their craft. We have the constitutional right to operate at normal working decibels during normal working business hours as any other sound-making field in industry and residential and business zones. Live music is protected as a free speech, amplified or not, under the First Amendment. The proposed sound ordinance to restrict the ability to express thoughts and feelings is simply unconstitutional. At the last meeting, members of the committee admitted to being unaware of these constitutional rights to their fellow community members. They admitted to being unaware of the current sound limit at 11 o'clock. They should be more aware of current laws if they are to write new ones. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is an international document that the U.S. signed. It states everyone has the right to work, free choice of employment, and protection against unemployment. We need to respect the working civil rights of our musical community. There's always been respect in this one-road town. We need to maintain our historical and cultural integrity.
Thank you, Jax.
Thank you.
So glad to be here with everybody. We're here just only to continue.
Journey Blue Heaven, you are starting.
Thank you. I was at the meeting with Paul Schultz doing the reading in 2022, and I didn't see this many people there. I was there. So I resolved that we change all that stuff up with the zoning and everything, readdress the decibel levels. Also, as a musician that plays on the street as much as possible and brings kids in together. I speak for the children because they're starving for music. They're starving to hear songs and learn songs that we sung. I grew up, had the privilege of growing up in this town when 12 o'clock happened at the Joyous Lake, and that's when the band started. So I see it go down like this. So whatever happened to, the bass level's too loud, make the phone call, ask them to turn it down, like one-on-one person. And I didn't prepare anything, so I just speak from the heart. Thank you, everybody.
I want to thank you for having a microphone this time. We really appreciate it. Anyway, I played here at least once a month from 1986 to about 2005. I lived up around here. I played at Tinker Street, Joyous Lake, Library Fair, countless benefits for family in Woodstock. And I played with musicians in here. I helped paint Michael Lang's house while Rachel Halens was living there. So there's my Woodstock credit. And it's a community. It is marvelous. And the times that we had after a Saturday gig, getting up on Sunday, going having coffee, meeting with all the other musicians, going out to a porch and having a porch jam, some of the best memories and wonderful miracles that happen in this place. I live in New Paltz. You don't go to New Paltz for the quiet. If you want quiet, you go to Rosendale. Here, same thing, Woodstock. It's Woodstock.
As a private citizen, the proposed limitations for both ambient acoustic music and amplified outdoor music do not account for the needs of our venues without outdoor spaces to turn a profit, provide for employees, or provide musicians opportunity throughout the year. Summer business is what allows many in this community to survive the winter outside of tourist season. The current proposal effectively removes workable shifts from entertainment and service industry workers and, even if unintentionally, unfairly targets the arts and music community and its right to work. Though the task force has said they completed sound studies, information available in the New York State DEC report assessing and mitigating noise impact clearly outlines extensive environmental factors that do not seem to be accounted for in this proposal, such as loss of trees, temperature, time of day, distance of sound, and other factors such as wind direction, in addition to other sound measurements such as equivalent sound levels that affect movement and reception of sound. As we move forward, these factors must be considered. Otherwise, putting forward this ordinance without proper environmental assessment would be irresponsible. Additionally, current language does not adequately protect groups that are not sponsored by the town, such as the Drum Circle, contrary to task force intention. Improved protective language needs to be included. In several community conversations, the following amendments have been discussed. Keeping our current ordinances 11 p.m. time, at least for several days of the week, allowing for at least 80 decibels at the property line, as well as included measurements taken from the point of complaint to ensure no malicious intent, and removing regulation on the number of allowable events. Legal precedents in other towns similar to ours and in locations with a similar desire to uplift the arts support this. Language in their ordinance state in plain language that decisions were made with respect to the importance music plays on their economy. Ultimately, we can do a better job of enforcement as a community without over-involving our police force and without codifying truly unenforceable decibel levels of 70 to 75. For this fast approaching summer season, please let our musicians and businesses operate per past practice. Thank you.
Chris Finley, please stay over there. Not the
No, we don't want you back here behind me. Go that way.
I just, before Michael
Chris, just step over here, please.
starts his speech, I do want to make one comment. Because
Michael, everybody.
What I'm trying to say is that this town was built on rock and roll. You want to shut it down, take your real estate and shut it.
Okay, unless the town plans on using microzoning or severe restrictions of right of use as a scalpel to create new residential areas within the hamlet. This is not practical and desirable. 2, I ask that we address the comprehensive plan, okay? This ordinance says nothing about protecting the artists or the oldest functioning colony for the arts. It says nothing about protecting the economic engine of the town, its working population, or the decades-old family businesses, which are all being gentrified out at this point. The comp plan speaks to protecting and revitalizing the arts colony and its recognition as a tourist destination. The law's language must include grounding in this plan, its priorities, and its recommendations. Absence of that language will speak to how the law's intent will be viewed by the court well into the future. Drum circle, busking, all of that, we'll talk about that. I ask that we have this document grounded in the comprehensive plan. The next I ask for jobs, okay? The nature of the seasonal tourist industry requires working families, businesses, and artists to make the bulk of their revenue during the season. Undermining the tourist draw hurts our town. In addition, forcing all artists and venues and promoters to compete directly on a limited basis of 3 hours peak performance on Friday and Saturday hurts us all. The weather alone makes this untenable. It should be up to the artists and the business owners to determine how best to organize their trade, just like everybody else. Remember, this is a tourist town 7 days a week, 6 months a year. We gotta, also, we need the town to thrive every day during the tourist season, not just on the weekends.
Thank you, Michael.
Am I done?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Sayas, I provided some language here, and I'd like to hand to you that.
Hi, I'm Chris O'Driscoll. I'm a resident of Woodstock and a musician. I already posted my full statement online and I've emailed it to this town board, so I encourage you to read the full statement, but I am going to just focus on the proposed changes I'd like to see in these noise ordinances, and I'd like to gauge the community support for these things. So in language that this town board can understand, I'm going to ask all in favor say aye and all opposed say nay. Note that this is a non-binding vote, this is just for demonstration purposes. But I'd like to completely remove the fines from the proposed laws, which only stand to profit from the misfortune of musicians and the music venues. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Oh, look, we can't be quiet. I'd like to remove the decibel levels as they measure sound pressure and not noise, which is subjective and cannot be measured. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Look at that. Restore the existing 11 p.m. noise curfew or even extend it to midnight on Fridays and Saturdays. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? remove the definitions that define music as noise and specifically add exceptions for all types of music, which would solidify Woodstock as a town that supports music and arts by writing it into our laws.
I am Felicia Butcher, and I'm part of the drum circle on Village Green and in this building in the winter, although I don't think it'll be a problem in this building as far as noise is concerned. The drum circle on the Village Green should, even though... Oh, there we go, perfect. I'm used to an SM7, I could be this far away. Anyway, I still think that, you know, whether the town is sponsoring a drum circle or not is still, to me, a little fuzzy. And therefore, I still think it should be written into the sound law that the drum circle is exempted from that. And also, there is no distinction made between non-expressive, non-musical noise, like machines and cars and things like that, and something which is a performance. And there has to be a distinction. There's also no difference in the law to be applied across all the different zoning definitions. I mean, obviously, Hamlet commercial should have much looser noise restrictions as well as sound restrictions than, let's say, Hamlet residential, even though those definitions and those boundaries might not always be the best way of delineating sound and noise, simply because of the way things developed organically in the town. And also the difference between dense and semi-dense residential areas. Obviously, a suburban-like area, maybe a little more restriction than something where out in a rural area, the measurement should definitely be maybe at the doorstep of the complainer, not even at the property, because they could have large property. And also there's mention about screeching tires, but no mention about, extremely loud mufflers, which, when you're at the drum circle, oftentimes the unmuffled or poorly muffled motorcycles are louder than the drum circle. Thank you.
I'm going to use a microphone, although anybody that knows me knows that I break the decibel meter without one. So our store has been in Woodstock since 1976. We have a long history of having outdoor musicians play in front of it. We've always given our permission. We're grown enough to have people in front of our store. Nobody's ever complained, and in fact, people like it. People like the drum circle. You are reaching a time when small retail businesses are struggling in this community because people in a lot of the outer areas who are living here who might be complaining about music are ordering off of Amazon. So you know what? I gotta make my money off of tourists so I can pay my bills. That's the truth. Nobody has ever complained about the music in front of our store. We worked it out. If somebody was unhappy, they could come and talk to me. I don't think that this is a job for the government, nor is it the job for our local police department to start policing this. And I have real concerns about a board, honestly. And it might not be you guys, but what about the following board? If you're going to put together a board that's going to decide what's okay and what's not okay, you could put this town in a precarious position. Because it might not be you, and you may like the drum circle, but the next administration may not. So we have to make a law that will work for all of the community all the time, regardless of who the elected representatives are. And I think that we also need to seriously consider there is a huge difference between commercial areas and residential areas. And the same laws should not necessarily apply in a residential area as they do in a downtown commercial zone.
Okay, sir?
Hi, my name's Charlie. I've been living up here for about 2 years. I'm an electrician, but primarily I'm a musician. I've been a musician my whole life. And I'm very proud to say that as of May 1st, my zip code is 12498. I like many others, came up here expecting to find the music, and I found it to a great degree. I'm really glad that so many of my peers and so many of my friends are musicians and wonderful and talented and artistic people. And I also have the honor of being the auxiliary host of the Colony Open Mic, so I have a front row seat to kind of see what's really happening in the local music scene. Not the music scene that happens in the Levon Helm bars or the Bearsville theaters, but the music that people are playing out of their homes and their porches. The people that music play when they don't have, you know, big money backing them. You know, the real passion kind of music that really drives this community. And I've delved head first into it, but I keep running up against this wall. We have a gig. My band, WOODSTOCK, has a gig this Friday. We're going to have to shut the music off at 9 o'clock. And you know, it's a bummer because the majority of money that there is to be made for music happens between the hours of 9 and who knows when. That's when most people show up. That's when young people tend to show up, which this town needs. And that's when people are buying the most alcohol, and that's when the venues are making the most money, the bands are making the most money. So I really think stipulations of this agreement just don't serve anybody except for the people that are writing it. I think a compromise can be reached, but we're pretty far away from it so far as this mandate is proposed. I also wanted to say really briefly that in a town that holds up its icons like its Levon Helms and its Bob Dylan's and its Jimi Hendrix, none of whom were lifelong residents, by the way, in a town that holds those people in such high esteem, why would we do something to curtail the environment that those people can thrive in? The next Levon Helm of Bob Dylan could be somebody with a guitar in his basement, and he's just looking for a place to play. He's looking for an audience, and that audience exists from the hours of 9 to midnight on weekends at decibel levels higher than 75.
I think any of us who were around during the pandemic realized that what the Colony did with the outside music was like a total lifeline for all of us. I mean, I think it really proved what science has also proved about the power of music, and live music, of course, in terms of feeling it in a different way than recorded music. So that's one example that cannot be refuted. And I feel that the stifling of the spontaneous creation of music, as someone spoke about, you know, just getting together spontaneously on the back porch or something like that, is totally antithetical to the spirit of what we have here. So I feel that all these years that stuff was allowed under the current guidelines happened during self-regulation, people using common sense sensibilities to know when they were too loud or staying up too late doing it. And I don't see any reason why that self-regulating system can't continue. And one more thing I wanted to say, that, all of this technical reasons, I wasn't even aware of all the legalities, which seems to me like it's just adding maybe a layer that's not necessary, because we seem to know how to do this, and we've been doing this for many years without that component. But if that's going to help win the case, I'm all for it. Okay, thank you.
Hi. This David Joseph testament to the agreement of the town and the church who owns the green. I have lived at Furrowed Forge and had the pleasure of music coming in my windows from people playing acoustic and amplified music on the green and on sidewalks in surrounding areas. The musicians who set up on the green were allowed to play and were not told to stop by the police. Recently, musicians have been told to cease playing per town agreement with the church. On April 20th, Saturday at noon, musicians and citizens gathered on the green to rally and spread the word about the proposed noise ordinance. 2 police officers came around 1 p.m. They said no music could be played on the green. The owner of the Reformed church called and asked the officers to stop the music. One person went to Pastor Carey's house. She said the music was okay with her. The question, who owns the church, was asked. The officers said they would go check with dispatch. The officers returned and said it was a deacon and the groundskeeper of the church who called, not the owner. Officers said there was an agreement between the town and the church that said music could be played only on the green from 5 to 6 on Saturday and 4 to 6 on Sunday. Questions, why was the agreement being selectively enforced? The pastor of the church told people it was okay to play on the green. Does she not know of the agreement with the church of the town? Do the deacon and the groundskeeper have the congregation behind them to enforce this agreement? Why do they misrepresent themselves as owner? Why is this agreement inconsistently enforced over the last 11 years until recently? How does this ordinance and this agreement affect the Sunday drum circle? We love the spontaneous music on the green and in Woodstock, including music at venues. Rumors of a new law radically restricting music.
Thank you, colleague.
I'm really grateful and honored to be here.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
With my people, my music, my neighbors. I've lived in this town for over 20 years, and I've raised my babies here, smack in the heart of the hamlet, of the village, right in the magic triangle between the Joyous Lake, the colony, the station, and now this early terrible thing. And you know, and every you know, babies are sleeping, and now I'm raising my old people are sleeping, and every once in a while there's a slight little bump.
Hold on 1 second.
But that's it.
Hold on 1 second, I'll stop. The sir in the yellow hat, I think you might be...
My timers. I hope that didn't take my time.
No, I'll give you an extra 50.
All right, thank you. So, when my friend told me that someone wanted to limit the music in Woodstock, I was like, get out! The music is the heart of the town. Everybody knows that. That's why we're here. Music is life and freedom and beauty. And it's what everybody needs. Now more than ever, we need to come together and sing. Let the musicians play. This is like a no-brainer. I don't think people should be legislating this at all. I mean, what is the problem here? This is Woodstock. If we can't have music here, where? I think we should all sing more and sing louder and sing together. And more drums and more instruments and without fear and any restrictions or limitations. And I love it, and I think this is silly, and we should put it aside and just make the music. I love you all in a very special way, and keep coming back.
Good. Ron.
Right. The first thing, and I'm just shooting off from the hip. How come not one single speaker tonight is supporting not having music? How come we're all here to support music? So that in itself should say something. Secondly, there's two kinds of money that's going to make this town work. We are talking about resolutions and budgets and $61 million. So money has to come in. That money comes in from tourists. Yep. I'm a documentary filmmaker. I film around the world. You say Woodstock, they say one thing: music. Why is it such a problem bringing people in for music? You cut everything off on a weekend at 9 o'clock. You don't get the tourists. There's nothing for them to see. We need them to come in. You go to Egypt to see the pyramids. You go to Paris to see the New York, a bunch of shit, but maybe a Broadway show. Come to Woodstock to hear music. I'm not here for applause. I think, and I have a lot of friends in the real estate business, I feel that there should be a piece of paper that for new money that comes in, they say, this is what to expect. Don't let them buy a $2 million house and then use their money to complain about the music.
Hi, my name is Luke Huntsberger, and I wasn't going to talk about busking, but the committee was supposed to be inclusive, and I don't recall hearing about any representatives from the busking community on the committee about the noise ordinance. I was in Quebec City 10 years ago, and they have placards everywhere celebrating their street performers. I don't see them here. The thing that bothers me about this is the hyper-regulation. It kind of reminds me of the Airbnb regulations, which were designed in a way so that big investment people can come in and buy 10 homes, renovate them, and so on. Whereas the homeowners who use it occasionally to, have somebody rent a room or something, or rent a weekend, they get shut out.
Yes.
We get hyper-regulation about everything except land development. Anyway, and dumping. The 70 decibel level is crazy. Are we going to be swarmed with noise monitors standing at the property line? The property line of the colony, for example, is right outside the door. And if it's so low as 70 decibels, it's going to be arbitrary enforcement. It would be like having a 20-mile-an-hour limit on Route 28. 9 p.m. is similarly crazy. And then having to apply for permits for special events, who does that favor? Also, with noise monitors, there's a big difference between a bass guitar or a bass at 80 decibels versus a piccolo at 80 decibels, which would probably blow out your eardrums. There needs to be some recognition about the quality of the sound as well as the loudness. Also, the regulations should be different for Shady versus the town center. Also, summer versus winter. There's a completely different town in summer versus winter. Also, we don't want to be Rhinebeck. We want to be Woodstock.
Yeah. Water is also important. And go to protectwoodstockwater.com.
And so many people have made so many hard-hitting, incredible shares tonight, hard-hitting points tonight. Connor, Charlie, Chris, Space Kid in purple hair. Yes, Jackson. I agree with everything that those folks said. Absolutely 100%. Music is the heart and soul of Woodstock. It is our lifeblood. And without that, what do we have? And I know we talk about, so if this is Woodstock, if music is Woodstock, if you don't want music, move to Shady, as someone said. But we are in the midst of a housing crisis.
Yeah.
So maybe we should be focusing there and putting energy there so that people who want to move to Shady because they want peace and quiet can. Instead of trying to stifle the lifeblood of Woodstock with stupid affordable housing. Yes, we need affordable housing so that people who need peace and quiet can get the peace and quiet they need and not kill our town. And I also would like to challenge you to not only, give us affordable housing, which we all need to get on board to, but also to be the town board that signs legislation protecting music in Woodstock.
First of all, I just want to point out that decibel level, it's a logarithmic scale. You're going to 60 to 70, it's like almost a doubling of the noise. Second of all, sound carries. I live on the other side on Hale Mountain, and when the colony gets cranking, I can hear it like I'm sitting in the parking lot. I go down to the bottom of the hill, I can't hear them because the trees are in the way. So the sound is a valley town, and sound carries in all directions.
So put some shit in
Michael, I will have the officers remove you.
The other thing I think, this is really not about music, and I really love all the energy here, and all the musicians that are coming out, and I think it's really great. But this noise ordinance is not, everybody got along. I've been here for 25 years and everybody got along. Until a few bad actors came in. And they put a stage up in the highest part of the town with big industrial speakers up on top of that stage, 20 feet off the ground, and blasted music over the valley. And that created problems. There was another place that put live bands on Pavilion with no barriers, and that created problems. And now I just went through town, and there's a bar in town, and you can't walk down the street without being assaulted by the music. So So I think there's really, I think try and listen to the people here, even try to write a noise ordinance is so hard, because there are so many complications. We got along in this town for hundreds of years. This town has been here. This has music, it's gone through history. I think even trying to put it down on paper. Why don't we just go get along and respect our neighbors? And about this 9 o'clock, it's not about music. There's so many more venues here, like so much more music. And they're inside and they play late and they're great. And let's keep it that way. And let's all get along as neighbors.
Thank you, Steve.
Hi, my name is Harmony. I'm 24 years old. I'm a musician. I'm a service industry worker. And I grew up on the backstage of like every stage in town when I was a kid. And I was never bothered by it personally. But me, along with many other musicians, locals, and business owners, I'm really concerned about the impact this has on not just our economy, but our culture, our community, the soul of everything that I so desperately, when I have customers that come in and I'm telling them about our town so passionately, and they're like, but where is the music? And I'm like, oh yeah, the band got shut down 2 hours ago, sorry. It's hard and it hurts a little to not be able to share that part of myself and this town with the people that are enjoying it so much and spending so much money here so I can make a living. But I've worked a lot of late nights and I love sharing it, but I have one real thing to ask. If this current proposal goes through without any changes, I really would like to see Colony of the Arts taken off of every sign in Woodstock because it just wouldn't be true anymore. I want us to be true in who we are, and if we're changing, let's not have false advertising. Yeah. Thank you. And keep your music alive.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Bryant. Thank you for this second opportunity to speak before this very important issue. I was moved up here by writer Neil Gaiman and musician Amanda Palmer in the year 2017. I thought I was Willy Wonka winning the golden ticket. How, of all places, was I able to move from Jersey City, New Jersey to Woodstock, New York? I don't say that to name drop, but I tell you that because there are musicians and writers here 100 years later in this arts and music colony making arts and music and hiring people to come and support them. It's their servant, I almost called myself. Sorry, this is not a type 5. Okay, but I say all of this to say I have children who are musicians because I live in Woodstock, New York, because I live on Broadview where the sound carries through the valley, and I get great honor that I'm now in this musical lineage where Peter Euro had his cabin where he invited Bob Dylan every summer to play. I am 2 lots down from that sacred, no longer house, but I walk by and I say, Bob Dylan played Peter Yarrow's grandfather's piano right there. And I listen to the proprietors of the Rock Academy, of which my children are students, and I hear Mackie Bowman playing the drums going, oh my God, how wonderful. And when my children, who cannot go to the beer garden because they are too young, we go to the cemetery to listen to your wonderful music. For the folks who say it's too loud, for the folks who want a little quiet, I struggle up against that because it's hard enough to live here.
Thank you. 2 minutes.
It's hard enough to live here, so don't close our public schools. Don't close our music venues.
Thank you.
It's hard enough. Thank you.
Hi, many of you must be like, what is she doing up here? But I bought a house here in 2000 and I was in the first Styles of the Times for having thrown the best parties in New York City. My name's Stacey Fine Hager, and I married Steve Hager, editor-in-chief of High Times magazine. And I used to bring bands to town, to Bearsville Theater and the Colony. And when COVID hit, I taught yoga on the Village Green, and I read poetry at Birdcliff and at Harmony, and there's nowhere to read in town, and apparently the decibel levels of applause or poetry or even religious, what did I hear from Rachel Markle Havens? Religious practices can be shut down by the police. And just the idea of people with guns coming into my house saying that I'm saying a bracha too loud would be offensive to anyone. If someone blew a shofar on my temple's property was too loud in this town that's known for its grand anti-Semitism, and I bought property here, and the rabbi that taught here, that taught me here, like, blow me fucking away. Blow me fucking away that there's some ordinance on decibel levels in the town of music that we came here and had our wedding in Magic Meadow and 100 people. Who's rapping that I've been talking too long?
15 seconds.
You got 15 seconds? 15 seconds? I filmed the Bobcats, I put it up on live music, I put my music up on everything. I miss MySpace for music. I'm down with everything. I'm down with culture, baby.
Good evening. I just would like to inform the board that I'm speaking.
Microphone.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. I would like to inform the board that I'm speaking on behalf of a number of people. Knowing that there were going to be so many people, we figured we would consolidate one statement, and I'm reading this on behalf. For that reason, and just I've timed myself the best I could, but I'm requesting
You should start.
permission for 10 seconds balance if I should.
Get started.
All right, thank you. My name is Claire Keith. I am a full-time resident of Woodstock in a fully residential district. I am part of 4 generations of full-time professional musicians in Europe and now in the US. In Woodstock, my family has lived for, by, and with music for over 5 decades, since 1970 when my husband came here and was part of the people who started this generation. I'm very proud of him. I'm also one of the people whose homes are severely damaged by a new type of amplified commercial outdoor concerts. For the first time in 50 years, I can no longer play or choose my own precious music in my own home for hours on end or enjoy any normal summer life as I have for the past 50 years. Here's my statement on behalf of everyone. We are expected today to comment in exactly 2 minutes on the specifics of a new noise ordinance. That is not possible because at this time we are missing the necessary data to make an informed comment. The trial period for the new guidelines announced last year by executive decision in a simple press release never happened for the following reasons. Monitoring and enforcement of the new guidelines by the town police could not take place because there was no town board resolution attached to them. No coherent data was ever collected or coordinated. We have no reference to match decibel outputs to their actual lived impact in our specific topography, especially in residential districts. And most importantly, eligible venues did not come remotely close to making full use of their new allowances. No trial period can be credible unless the new guidelines have been actually tested to their full allowed limits. As a result, the entire community has been deprived of its right to know the real impact of the proposed guideline. We can't even inform comment to the town board, which is neither fair nor legally sound.
Thank you, Claire.
I have a request, I'm not done, right?
You're 219.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
For those of you who don't know, I host an open mic in Woodstock with Connor Wank, actually, at Full Moon. And that wouldn't be possible, and I wouldn't have been inspired to do so unless I was exposed to this town, unless I grew up here. While I did not grow up in this town, I was raised here, I was raised by the town. I grew up local and I found myself in this community. It's a community of creatives who inspire each other and support each other, and for that I'm very thankful. I'm also thankful to say that I know so many young rising artists, and I knew them from when they first picked up a guitar, playing songs around a fire, to playing venues and having fans who aren't just one of the 10 people in our friend group that month. We have a really special environment that supports young people, that inspires young people, and it's only possible because of the live music. We need to continue this. We need to continue to support each other. And I did not prepare a speech. I was inspired by all of your words to stand up here. Usually I don't do public speaking, but this is such an important issue that will affect generations to come. I'm 23 years old, and I've been inspired by people 10 years old to 70, based on their live music, based on their songs, based on their audience, based on the community they create. And I've said inspire like 5 times, but it really is inspire. To have access to any kind of art that you can imagine, whether it be watercolors, guitar, mandolin, giant bass, even a mouth harp, it's a very unique and special place to have. And as a service industry worker, I have to say, the music here is something that attracts tourism. It's something that helps me make my bills. And also, when I get out at 9:30, 10 o'clock, sometimes I want to catch the tail end of my friend's show. So, yeah.
Hi, my name is Rachel. I'm Higgins. I'm speaking to you, 5. I would like to make note that there's 2 board members that are not here at this moment, and so they're not hearing us all. Hopefully they'll take the time. I am the current co-president of the Woodstock Chamber of Commerce and Arts with a capital A-R-T-S. And what that is a 501c6 organization that is founded to lobby for its members. Our membership currently, I'd like to say we took it on as they were about to shutter. The previous board did their very best to make it through the COVID situation and the shutdown, and they were not able to do that. They're working closely with us to continue and have encouraged and are advising as our advisory board to embrace our artists and creatives and the musicians as the primary drivers of commerce in our region. I was just told by the Ulster County Tourism yesterday, who balked at this ordinance, and they said to us that they can verify that Woodstock is the actual primary driver of commerce in the Hudson Valley and the Catskills. That is because of who we are. My father opened the Woodstock Festival. We are in the center of an arc of 100 years between the founding of this arts colony and where we are now with the arc of the 55th anniversary this summer. We are now working to try to step into a summer where we didn't just take on the volunteer positions with our board with a 10 seconds, 20 seconds, with an overdrafted bank account and a volunteer team to do this, to stand in the middle of town and make excuses for where the music went. And we have over 75 years of work on the block to give you verification of who we are. We will be presenting you with some actual mitigation situations. Innovation is the way to go. Everyone here has actually spoken for us, and most of the people who spoke are our members.
Thank you, Rick.
Music in Woodstock.
All right, folks, so I'm going to recess the hearing now, and it will recess to the call of the chair. I do not intend on reopening it at next week's town board meeting, so nobody has to rush. I mean, please come and see us do other business, but don't feel obligated like we're going to do something between now and then. And the second Tuesday in June, I don't have the date right now, but I anticipate that's when I'm going to be opening this hearing. We'll do it again here.
The Turtle Island, her river forest, and her Gulf Stream water, they don't belong to you and me. So I went hiking in the forest of Woodstock till I saw a sign said no trespassing. The other side said private property, do not pass. So finally, be subject to the orders of the Lord, and 24 hours a day with surveillance, and armed guards will be put over. And under no circumstances is any loud music to be played in this town by order of the colony for the old farts. There was a baby you and me, spending your way, and it sure ain't my land. She is our mother, the turtle they don't belong to you and me. So I rocked the rabble and I sang for freedom right up to the town hall steps. And all around me, the judges sounding. This land is corporate property. This land ain't your land, it sure ain't my land. She is our mother, the Turtle Island, her redwood forests, and her Gulf Stream waters. They don't belong to you and me. Everybody, this land ain't your land, it sure ain't my land. She is our mother, the Turtle Island, her redwood forests, and her Gulf Stream waters. They don't belong to you and me. Thanks, folks. Thanks to the holiday. If you came out Tuesday night, please support us at our town board meeting at 56 Rock City Road.